Here we go. Unit 2, Lesson 3, Part 1. We're going to look at using long division with polynomials. So we're going to take the equation x squared plus 5x plus 6 and divide it by x plus 2. So again, how I'm going to kind of set it up is I'm going to put the x plus 2 on the outside here, and then I've got my division sign, and I'm going to put x squared plus 5x plus 6 inside. Now, again, I want to think about what can I multiply to get x squared, because I want it to equal x squared. So I know that, well, in order to get x squared, I need to take x times x. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put an x right here, and then I'm going to multiply x by, in every term over here, x plus 2. But one of the things that we do, again, is when we subtract this, is I'm going to subtract this whole term. And so I got to remember that no matter what I put in here, this subtraction sign is going to distribute inside of here. And essentially that changes my addition signs to subtraction and my subtraction signs to addition. So if I look at this, I'm going to take x times x and get x squared. And then x times 2 is plus 2x. But I have to think about, okay, when I distribute this negative sign, what is actually happening? Well, x squared minus x squared cancels out. So again, that's 0, or it cancels out. 5x minus 2x gives me positive 3x. And I have to bring this 6, I have to bring this term all the way down, and I'm going to bring it down here to plus 6. So again, I don't really necessarily need this part right here. So really, I'm left with 3x plus 6. So now I'm going to go back, and again, I've got another term. Now I got to think about, all right, I got to put something right here. So what could I multiply to get 3x? Well, I'm going to multiply a positive 3. So now when I go through and I get 3 times x, again, I still have to think about, all right, I've got my subtraction sign here. It's going to distribute. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is plus 6. But when I distribute this subtraction sign, it is actually going to cancel out for both terms. And so when we are left with a 0, or, if we cancel everything out like this, then we know that our final answer is x plus 3 with no remainder. So x squared plus 5x plus 6 divided by x plus 2, just add some parentheses, equals x plus 3. Okay, looking at another problem. Again, kind of similar to the one that we just did. X squared plus 3x plus 5 over x plus 1. Setting up my equation, again, I'm going to put what's underneath, x squared plus 3x plus 5 here. I'm going to put x plus 1 here. Set my equation up with subtraction. And what can I multiply x plus 1 by to get x squared? That's going to be x. So this is like x squared plus x. Don't forget to distribute that negative. My first terms cancel out. This I'm left with is 2x, and I bring down plus 5. Now I say, what can I multiply this by? Well, it's going to be 2. So again, as I'm looking, I'm saying, all right, this is going to give me negative 2x and minus or plus 2. But then that negative is distributed right here. So this is really like subtracting 2. So I'm left with positive 3. And again, to write my answer, to use my remainder, I'm going to take my answer of x plus 2, and I'm going to add my remainder as a fraction divided by over what I divided. So this would be my final answer. Okay, let's take a look at another problem. Notice in this one, again, the exponents, we're actually missing x to the first power, or just x, okay? So when we set up our dividing problem, what we do is we use a placeholder. So I'm going to say 6x to the third plus 10x squared. I'm going to add in plus 0x as a placeholder, and then write everything else just the same. So as I'm looking, I'm saying, all right, I'm going to get this problem set up, but what do I need to multiply 2x squared? And Mr. Larson almost set it up incorrectly. He has to do that same thing with the placeholder in where he divides it as well. So I'm going to add plus 0x, and then I still have plus 1 right here. Okay, now we're in business. So what can we multiply 2x squared by to get 6x to the third? Well, we know that we could multiply that by 3x. 3x, again, as I set up my problem, this is going to cancel out. That's kind of always our goal with the first step. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0x. And 3 times 1 is simply 3x. All right. Cancels out, stays 10x squared minus 3x because that negative is distributed. And this number comes all the way down. Now I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, what can I multiply to get 10x squared? Well, that's going to be a positive 5. So 5 times 2x squared is 10x squared. Again, anything multiplied by 0 is 0. And 5 times 1 is 5. After distributing, again, cancels out, left with negative 3x plus 3. I got to take my remainder and add it into my final answer. So my final answer is going to be 3x plus 5 plus my remainder of negative 3x plus 3 all over 2x squared plus 1. This is my final answer. Okay, let's take a look at another example here. 2x to the third plus 8x squared minus 6x plus 10. So again, if I'm thinking about setting this up, I'm saying, all right, I'm going to create my square root sign. I'm going to put x minus 2 on the outside, and then I'm going to put part B, and I'm going to put 2x to the third plus 8x squared minus 6x plus 10 right here. So this time I'm thinking, okay, what can I multiply x minus 2 by to get 2x to the third? So in order to get 2x to the third, because my goal is always I want to try to eliminate that highest degree as I work through. I want to try to get that degree to be smaller. So I'm going to say, well, if I multiply this by 2x, again, 2x times x, and I have to create my subtraction. Again, it's always a good idea to just do it like this. I have to create 2x times x is 2x to the third. 2x times negative 2 is negative 4x. All right. And again, we don't really have anything else there. So again, this term will eventually be brought down. And this term will be brought down as well. But when I'm looking at canceling, I see, okay, these two terms, 2x to the third minus 2x to the third cancels out. 8x squared minus 4x, excuse me, and I should have put, I forgot, so this should be a 2x squared. So 2x squared times x is 2x to the third. Negative 2 times 2x squared is negative 4x squared. Now, because they both have x squared and x squared, I can combine them, but this negative sign gets distributed, and this actually turns into a plus sign. So I'm going to get positive 12x squared. Bring these other terms down, minus 6x plus 10. And now I'm on to my next term, and I'm going to say, okay, what can I multiply x minus 2 by to get 12x squared? Well, I know that I could multiply it by 12x. So again, use my subtraction sign here. Perfect. All right. Let's say 12x times x is 12x squared. 12x times -2 is -24x. And I will still have to bring this down. This stuff cancels out. Again, distributing this negative, it turns into -6x plus 24x. And that's going to give me positive 18x. And I got to bring the plus 10 down. Getting closer, but still not quite done yet. Okay, what can I multiply x minus 2 by? I'm going to multiply it by, let's say, 18. So adding 18. 18, again, I'm going to set this up here. So that gives me 18x. I always want to cancel that first term out. And then 18 times -2 is -36. So if I go through this, again, this cancels out, distribute the negative, and I'm left with 46, positive 46. This is like a remainder. So how we write our remainder, so again, what's my final answer? I have 2x squared plus 12x plus 18, and then we write our remainder as 46 over x minus 2. So I take, again, what I was dividing it by, I take my remainder and I make it into a fraction. So 2x squared plus 12x plus 18 with a remainder of 46 over x minus 2. Okay, taking 6x to the fourth minus 9x squared plus 18 dividing by x minus 3. Now the difference here in this one is that we don't, if we look at our exponents, they aren't necessarily decreasing by 1. So when we create our problem, when we draw it out here, we have to account for that. So I'm going to keep x minus 3 out here. I'm still going to put 6x to the fourth, but I need a placeholder for x to the third. So I'm going to go ahead and input 0x to the third minus 9x squared plus 0x, and then I still have plus 18 over here. So you have to put these placeholders in, or else when you're going through your division, you're not going to come up with the correct answer. So I'm thinking, what x minus 3 times what gives me 6x to the fourth? Well, that's going to be 6x to the third. So as I set it up, I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to, again, create my subtraction, my parentheses, and I'm going to say, all right, 6x to the third times x is 6x to the fourth. This is going to give me negative 18x to the third. And then again, I would bring all these down. I'm going to kind of do it step by step. You'll see what I mean. So as I go through and simplify this, again, my first term, 6x to the fourth minus 6x to the fourth, cancels out. And then a negative times a negative is a positive. So I get positive 18x to the third. And then I'm going to bring this negative 9x squared down. Okay, so now I'm thinking, what can I multiply by to get 18x to the third? Well, I have only one single x, so the only thing I can do is multiply it by 18x squared. Remember, we kind of want these in decreasing order, and again, because we added these placeholders, we are going to be able to do that. 18x squared times 18x, or excuse me, x minus 3. Again, I'm going to set it up like this. Subtract. Okay. This is going to cancel out. And this is going to give me negative 54x squared. Again, this is coming all the way down here as well. So when I go through and start simplifying, cancels out. Negative times a negative is a positive. This actually turns into positive 45x squared, bringing plus 0x down. So I'm now going to say, all right, I want to figure out, well, x times what gives me 45x squared? Well, that's going to be plus 45x. Again, subtracting 45x squared. 45 times 3 is 145. So that's going to give me minus 145x. Again, the negatives cancel out, and I'm left with positive 145x. And then I'm almost done. I got to remember to bring this 18 all the way down here. Add 18. And now I think, all right, x minus 3 times what gives me 145x? I'm going to say plus 145. And as I go through and I say, all right, subtracting 145x, this times 18 gives me 435. So I'm going to get minus 435. Again, the negatives cancel out, and I'm actually left with 453. So to sum up my final answer, 6x to the third plus 18x squared plus 45x plus 145, and then how I write my remainder is I take whatever was left and put it in a fraction over what I was dividing by. So 453, over x minus 3. That gives you the final answer.